Introduction to FDA Detention. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, is responsible for protecting public health by ensuring the safety and proper labeling of food, drugs, cosmetics, and medical devices entering the United States. The FDA has broad authority to detain shipments of products regulated by the agency if they appear to violate U.S. laws and regulations. This authority extends to food, drugs, cosmetics, and other products. Detentions can occur based on various factors, including labeling issues, manufacturing violations, or the presence of contaminants. U.S. imports experienced a significant surge, 50.9% spike in import of goods, driven primarily by businesses stockpiling. That meant more congested seaports, airports and border crossings, expensive shipping options, more inventory at warehouses, and different cash management issues. The U.S. imported a total of $1.89 trillion worth of goods in the first quarter of 2025. Mexico accounted for 13.8% of these imports. Canada's earnings from exports to the U.S. increased by 7.9% to $108.93 billion. According to U.S. Census Bureau data, U.S. imported $128 billion worth of Chinese goods in the first 4 months of 2025, as exporters rushed to beat upcoming tariffs. But in April 2025, Chinese exports to the U.S. plunged 21%. The surge in tariff rates and removal of the $800 de minimis exemption for parcels hit small-scale U.S. import channels hard. U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods escalated to 145% total by mid-April, now 55%, prompting a retaliatory Chinese ban totaling 125%. EU exports of food products exceeded 59.7 billion euros, 3% more than in the same period last year. Exports to the United States were particularly robust, plus 11%, ahead of anticipated new tariffs. The U.S. also purchased large volumes of hormones and biochemical compounds from Ireland, a global pharmaceutical hub, due to the presence of numerous multinational plants. In addition to basic products, imports of immunological products and specialized medicines also increased, sourced not only from Ireland, but also from Germany and Switzerland. This confirms the strong supply chain ties with the European Union, supported by major American companies. However, the inventory effect could be followed in the coming quarters by a reduction in demand in imports. A buildup of inventories can occur for various reasons, including businesses anticipating increased demand, preparing for potential supply chain disruptions, or responding to government policies like tariffs. When imported goods do not comply with FDA regulations, they can be subjected to FDA detention, an action where the shipment is held at the port or airport of entry. Detentions can lead to significant delays, increased costs, legal consequences, and even permanent refusal of entry for the goods. Understanding the reasons for FDA detention and how to prevent it is essential for importers, manufacturers, and distributors doing business with the United States. What is FDA detention? When a shipment reaches the United States, the importer of record, owner, purchaser, or licensed customs broker designated by the owner, purchaser, or consignee, files documents at the port or airport of entry. Since most customs clearances are processed by FedEx, UPS, DHL, or one of the 14,454 active licensed customs brokers in the United States, they will be the first to know about your detention. The FDA and U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) work together to prevent non-compliant products from entering the United States. FDA detention occurs when the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, or U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) on its behalf, holds an imported product at the port of entry because it appears to violate U.S. laws and regulations. This appearance of a violation is a key legal standard that gives the FDA significant power in regulating imports. The detention is a temporary measure that allows further investigation, sampling, or testing before the product is allowed to enter the U.S. market. Remember, customs brokers cannot serve as U.S. agents. Please keep in mind that your customs broker, including DHL, UPS, or FedEx, will not be able to provide FDA compliance assistance. However, you can count on them to obtain a U.S. Customs or CBP assigned number by submitting an Importer Identity Form, CBP Form 5106, on behalf of your company. Here's what current data shows on annual U.S. detentions and refusals of food shipments by the FDA and U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP). There are over 54,000 refusals across all FDA-regulated products, of which 25,000 or about 45% are human food shipments. For perspective, this accounts for less than 0.02% of approximately 39 million annual import entries. The detention process. When products in your shipment violate or appear to violate FDA laws and regulations, FDA may detain your product and issue a notice of FDA action with the designation of detained. This notice outlines the suspected violation and the next steps. Notice of detention and hearing is issued by the FDA. Your options include submitting evidence, testimony, to overcome the appearance of a violation, a request to recondition the products to correct the violation, abandon the product, relinquish ownership so it can be destroyed by customs. If you are unable to overcome the appearance of a violation, your products will be refused admission, and you can work with U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) and FDA to destroy the products or export them from the U.S. within 90 days of the refusal. Common mistakes that lead to detention. It is the importer of record, IOR's responsibility to arrange for examination and release of the goods, because imported products regulated by the FDA are subject to inspection at the time of entry. An electronic product for which there is a radiation performance standard, laser products, diagnostic X-ray equipment, may only be imported if a declaration is filed with each importer's entry, on Form FDA 2877. Moreover, some imported foods regulated by the FDA, such as confectionery, dairy products, poultry, eggs and egg products, meats, fruits, nuts and vegetables, are also subject to the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA requirements. But there are many other reasons for U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) and/or U.S. Food and Drug Administration, US FDA detention. Common violations. Your product may be detained because it appears to be adulterated. The product is contaminated, is not safe, or does not otherwise meet applicable standards. Misbranded. The labels contain false or misleading information, inadequate labeling, missing nutritional facts, allergens, or ingredient statements. Unapproved new drug, manufactured, processed, or packed under insanitary conditions. Forbidden or restricted for sale in the country in which it was produced or from which it was exported. Also, incorrect or missing documentation. Invoices, packing lists, prior notice. Failing to comply with product-specific requirements, such as HACCP plans for seafood or low-acid canned food, LACF regulations. Moreover, keep in mind that unless exempt, all importers of human and animal food must develop, maintain, and follow a Foreign Supplier Verification Program, FSVP, for each food and foreign supplier. Failure to file a prior notice before your cargo arrives at the first U.S. port or airport will always result in U.S. Customs and FDA hold. Failure to register foods, drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, the facility or establishment of the manufacturer, exporter, importer, or distributor is required. So is the listing of medical devices and drug products, FDA inspections, the refusal to permit inspection of a foreign facility or reasonable access to FDA's inspectors, combined with other evidence, provides an appearance that the firm's products are manufactured, processed, or packed under insanitary conditions. Therefore, the products manufactured or exported by that facility will be subject to refusal of admission into the United States. Avoiding FDA detention requires a proactive approach, knowledge of FDA regulations, and proper documentation. Here are practical steps to reduce your risk. Understand product requirements. Before importing any goods, research FDA requirements specific to your product category. Food, cosmetics, drugs, and medical devices all have unique standards. Consult FDA guidance documents and regulations to ensure full compliance. Register facilities and list products. Ensure that all foreign facilities are properly registered with the FDA. For food products, verify food facility registrations. For cosmetics, drugs, and medical devices, ensure product listing and establishment registrations are current. Provide accurate and complete documentation. Prepare and submit all necessary documentation, including commercial invoice, bill of lading, packing list, prior notice for food, certificates of analysis for supplements or drugs, product labels in English, FSVP agent statement of consent. Ensure all documents are accurate, consistent, and meet FDA expectations. Use U.S. agents and customs brokers. Working with a knowledgeable U.S. agent or customs broker can help ensure your paperwork is in order and your shipment complies with regulations. These professionals can also assist with communication in the event of a detention. Monitor import alerts and DWPE. Check the FDA's import alert list to see if your product or supplier is flagged. If listed under DWPE, your shipments will face automatic detention unless you provide evidence of compliance, commonly called evidence to overcome. Conduct pre-shipment testing and inspections. Perform quality checks and testing before shipping to the U.S. Ensure that products are free from contaminants and labeling complies with U.S. rules. This proactive step can prevent detention and refusal. Maintain transparent communication. Keep open lines of communication with all stakeholders, suppliers, agents, customs brokers, and FDA inspectors. Prompt responses and cooperation can speed up the resolution of any issues. FDA Detention Assistance. What to do now if you're facing detention. In short, FDA Detention Assistance services act swiftly to address FDA holds, managing paperwork, testing, legal communication, and regulations navigation to get your product released or properly handled. Identify the detention type and deadline. Respond by date on notice of FDA action. Notify a detention services provider such as ITB Holdings LLC immediately because time is critical. Collect all documentation and lab certificates, certificates of analysis or COAs, test results, prior notices, facility or establishment registration, foreign supplier verification program, agent statement of consent, product listings, FDA-compliant labels. Authorize a representative for submitting testimony and liaising with FDA. Decide, attempt admissibility testimony or pursue a reconditioning request using FDA Form 766. Key services offered. Understand charges and deadlines in the notice of FDA action. Coordinate with brokers and importers to organize a response promptly. Assist with testimony of admissibility if product complies. Prepare Form FDA 766 and support correction or reconditioning. Compile documents. Coordinate sampling and FDA-compliant lab work for detained shipments. Serve as authorized representative, submitting evidence and communicating with FDA officers directly. Request extensions. Follow up on releases or released with comment actions. Support removal from import alert lists, which trigger no examination holds. Assist with corrective action plans and import alert petitions. If release isn't possible, coordinate re-export, destruction, or voluntary refusal before refusal is formally issued. Here's a final tip. FDA detention is a serious obstacle for international businesses looking to enter the U.S. market. While the FDA's mission is to protect consumers, it also offers clear pathways for importers to comply with its standards. By understanding the rules, preparing properly, and addressing issues proactively, companies can reduce the risk of detention and ensure smoother importation into the United States. Avoiding FDA detention isn't just about avoiding delays. It's about protecting your business reputation and maintaining market access in one of the world's largest consumer economies. If your products are deemed misbranded for failure to register your facility or establishment, act as soon as possible to avoid additional warehouse storage fees. Per diem charges are applicable when cargo or containers are held beyond the applicable free time, $20 plus 4 cents per pound, per day. While the container or cargo is on hold, numerous fees will begin to pile up, such as row fees, demurrage fees, per day, shifting fees, and admin fees. Speeding shipments through customs and quickly addressing issues can mean the difference between fulfilling a distribution contract and losing an important customer. Is your company manufacturing, exporting, importing, or distributing FDA-regulated products? Contact ITB Holdings LLC at www.itbholdingsllc.com. Use the free live support chat available 24/7, including in foreign languages for your convenience. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more valuable insights, tutorials, and industry updates. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications whenever we release new content. Until next time, stay safe, stay compliant, and stay tuned. See you next week.